It's not the app. Your brain blocks this. Researchers went out and studied real millionaires. Not the ones on TV. Real people with over $1 million to their name. And what they found flipped everything upside down. Most of them looked completely normal. That's what the Millionaire Next Door is all about. And once you see what they found, you won't look at money or the people around you the same way again. Two researchers, Thomas Stanley and William Danko, spent years studying wealthy people. They didn't just look at income. They looked at what people kept, the real wealth. And what they found surprised them. The people with the actual wealth weren't usually in the biggest houses or driving the flashiest cars. They were teachers, business owners, farmers, regular people who quietly built wealth over decades without making a big show of it. Here's the simple truth the book keeps coming back to. Income is what comes in every month. Wealth is what stays with you. Those two things are not the same, though most people treat them like they are. You can earn great money your whole life and still have almost nothing saved. It happens all the time. You can earn a normal wage and quietly build real freedom. That happens too, just quietly, where no one can see it. The difference usually comes down to one trap. One most people never even see. Here's the aha moment. The book talks about something you could call the big shot trap. It works like this. From the time we're kids, we get one message over and over. Looking successful is being successful. Nice car means you made it. Big house means you made it. Designer clothes, luxury trips, the latest phone. All of it says, this person has money. And companies have spent billions figuring out how to feed that feeling. Think about car ads. They don't sell you a car, they sell you a feeling. Status, respect. You buy the car, and for a moment you feel like the person in that ad. Real estate doesn't say buy a home. It says move to a bigger house in a better neighborhood. More impressive. Luxury brands know their product isn't really the bag or the watch. It's the signal. What other people think when they see it. Here's what makes this a trap. None of that spending builds wealth. It drains it. The book found something uncomfortable. Most people in expensive cars and big houses are not millionaires. They're spending everything they earn, sometimes more, just to keep up the image. The real millionaires, the researchers found? Many drove older cars, lived in the same modest house for 20 years or more, shopped carefully. Not because they couldn't afford more, because they understood something most people don't. Every dollar you spend on looking rich is a dollar that never gets to become real wealth. The researchers also found that a lot of high earners, doctors, lawyers, executives, were surprisingly broke when it came to actual savings. Why? Because their spending grew with every raise. Bigger house, private school, new car, always keeping up with what someone at their level is supposed to look like. That's the hidden game. The world rewards looking wealthy more than being wealthy. And most of us play that game our whole lives without realizing it. Meet two neighbors. Call them David and Mark. David is a surgeon, makes $400,000 a year, lives in a $1.2 million house, drives a $90,000 car. His kids are in private school. He takes 2 international vacations a year. From the outside, David looks like he has made it. Mark runs a small plumbing business, makes $95,000 a year, lives in a modest 3-bedroom house he bought 18 years ago, drives a 7-year-old truck. His kids went to public school. Who would most people say has more actual wealth? David is the obvious choice to 90% of us hands down. But at 55 years old, David has $180,000 in savings. If his income stopped tomorrow, he would be in financial crisis within 18 months. Mark has $1.1 million in savings and investments. His house is paid off. He has no debt. If he stopped working tomorrow, he could live comfortably for the rest of his life. David looks wealthy. Mark is wealthy. This is exactly what Stanley and Danko found over and over again in their research. The people who looked the most successful were often the most financially fragile. And the people quietly building real wealth were almost invisible. The trap is that we are all trained to admire David and overlook Mark. Social media, TV, advertising, everything points us toward David's lifestyle as the dream example. Real freedom has Mark's balance sheet as the true winner here. It's just not as sexy or useful to those looking to sell you more. How does this help you today? I'm not saying stop enjoying life or never buy anything nice. That's not the point. Here are 3 things you can start doing this week. Small shifts that compound over time. Nothing big or dramatic changes. First, track the gap. For 1 week, write down every purchase over $25. Next to each one, write, did this build something or signal something? No judgment, just awareness. Most people have never done this once in their life. Second, automate one wealth-building step before your next paycheck. The amount is not the point, the habit is. You are training yourself to pay your future self first. Third, pick one status expense to pause for 30 days. Not forever, just 30 days. Maybe it is the premium subscription you barely use, the restaurant you go to because of how it looks on your story, the upgrade you get because it feels right for someone at your level. Pause it. See how it feels. At the end of 30 days, you decide with intention instead of autopilot. None of these will make you a millionaire overnight, but they will start closing the gap between looking wealthy and being wealthy. And that gap is where real financial freedom lives. The book found the people who built real wealth were intentional. They didn't just let their spending grow every time their income grew. They made conscious choices. You don't need to overhaul your life today. Just pick one thing. One area where you might be spending to look a certain way instead of moving forward. Just noticing it. That's how it starts. I put together a free 5-minute audit that shows you exactly where these patterns might be costing you money right now. Link is in the description. After reading this book, I started looking at my own spending differently. Not with guilt, not with shame, just with curiosity. Where am I buying status? Where am I building something? What have I been doing on autopilot that I never consciously chose? The Millionaire Next Door doesn't tell you to live small. It just shows you the gap between what wealth looks like and what it actually is. And once you see that gap, you get to decide what to do with it. What's one thing you've bought mostly to look successful? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. No judgment here, we've all done it. If this gave you a new way to look at things, hit subscribe and the bell so you don't miss the next book's lab lessons. Behavior, confidence, growth. See you in the lab.